And we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Laqwanda. Visit the website, laqwanda.com. Or you can follow me on Facebook if you're a Facebook person. It's Laqwanda. So let's get right into it. Today, I wanted to talk about, I'm bringing back the Spiritual Convo series. As many of you know, I converted to another set of spiritual beliefs, so I no longer identify. And my dogs are eating, if you're wondering what the background noise is. So I no longer identify as Christian. So I like to have spiritual convos for other people who don't necessarily um, identify with Christianity. So having faith when everything seems to be falling apart or going wrong in life. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. I also just got in from bringing the dogs in, and it seems like every piece of pollen under the sun had fallen upon me. But anyway, one thing that I want to hold on. Let me deal with this. Hold on. So, um, for me, this is very very personal because there's so many times in my life where things were going wrong, and I am not the person that. Hold on, let me put my glasses back on because allergies and my face don't look right. Okay, so I am not the person to kind of pretend like things are always okay and things never um, go astray because they do. And more recently for myself, a couple of weeks back, it seemed like everything that I had put in place was just falling apart, falling apart, falling apart, and nothing was fitting together. And I got really, really down, because I didn't feel connected to the plans that were in place, and I started to have a lot of doubt in, my ability to do things and the ability for things to work out in my favor. When I do begin to experience instances where I feel like my faith is challenged, I began to look at the moments that the universe has brought me through, and I began to connect to those. It's so important that you remember the positive things that have happened in your life previously, because those moments really do matter when you have a moment where you don't feel like your faith is as strong. Um, for me, when I was going through that difficult moment where I felt like my faith was being tested, I thought about, I always go back to that moment when I couldn't work, when I couldn't take care of myself. And so the issue that I was looking at, I was like, wait, look at what your problems are now versus what your problems were then. And it doesn't mean that my problems now aren't valid, but it reminded me that I have slayed with the help of the universe and the guidance of my ancestors, bigger beasts than what I was currently going through. And so that helped build me up as a reminder that, someone, the universe always has my back, and that the guidance will come. And it was very funny because the guidance came in so many different ways. I was spinning, and when I am not anchored in my faith, my mind and ideas spin and they go here and they go there. That is a time that I don't necessarily keep to myself. I talk a lot to my partner, and I tell him these are the ideas that I have, these are the things that come into me, and he will stop me. He will stop me, and he was like, Laquanda, that's not it. um and he and I are of different faiths. He identifies with Christianity. And so he was like, Laquanda, that's not it. And so, I would go back and forth. And then after, talking to people that are in my close network circle, I sit and I remember that the universe has always done one thing for me. I won't say what it specifically does, but it's always done one thing for me. And I needed to wait for that one thing to happen. And so I began to draw back from things. And just so you know, there's a difference between drawing back from things and isolating yourself. So I was drawing back from things, but I wasn't cutting everyone off. So what I would do, or what I did, is I started pulling back from things so that I can recuperate. You sometimes, when you're on a faith journey, you can get weary and you can get tired. So you always need to give yourself space to recuperate in whatever way that you need. But I had to give space to recuperate, and I also had to deal with the fact that I was angry. Um, Sometimes people don't want to deal with that aspect when it comes to a faith journey, because you may get angry or be angry or frustrated that things didn't work out the way that you thought they would. And so you have to sit down and talk to your spiritual being or higher power about being angry. And it's okay to say, hey, I'm angry about this happening. Oh, I'm angry about that happening. And because I know I used to go outside when I was a Christian, and when it was raining in particular, and I would just yell at the sky and just say, why did all of this stuff happen? And so I would be furious. And so, but that was okay for me to experience that. And I also, even now, when I'm upset and things don't go my way, I still vocalize, hey, I am upset. Hey, I am hurt that this didn't work out the way I thought it was meant to work out. And when that began to subside, I began to sit and wait for the universe to talk to me and to give me guidance and redirection. And sometimes, what I have learned is not that the universe told me not to do this, is I wasn't listening for the better way to do it. And that is where I usually get caught up. It's like, okay, here's what I want you to do, and here's the plan, but I wasn't listening for the complete plan, the complete logistics, and so I was taking on the logistics myself. And the thing about the universe, if you don't want to listen to the universe and your ancestors, they'll sit back. They'll sit back and let you do those things yourself. And they'll wait for the moment when you come and you say, hey, I think I took a wrong turn. And it's like, yes, I wanted you to do this. I put this in your spirit to do. I called you forth to do these things. This is your purpose. This is your passion. This is your plan. The plan that, I have for you. However, I need you to listen to me throughout on how this should be implemented or how this should be done. And the things that I had to realize, that the universe has given me certain knowledge base and strength and wisdom to know, and insight to make certain judgment calls. But there's some things that I need to sit and meditate and wait on. And I learned to do that. It's no different than when I was practicing, any other faith that I was connected to. So it's that was very, very. Oh yeah, hold on, gotta drink some water. That was very, very important for me to remember. Sometimes, Gwanda, you gotta sit back, listen, and wait for the direction. And so, as everything began to collide upon me or collapse on me weeks ago, and I doubted all the plan, the universe, when I sat still, and not in isolation, but sat still in position to receive, because you have to be in a position to receive. That's when the universe came to me and, spoke to me. It's like, I told you to do this, but this is how I need you to do this. Because sometimes when we don't listen for the how, we are setting ourselves up. And I was setting myself up to impact my faith in a negative way, because I was so eager to get started that I wasn't really listening to the full picture of what the universe was telling me to do. And so when I started reaching out to my spiritual guides and getting that insight and that guidance from them and hearing them, tell me this is the direction, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to let go of, you know, it began to it began to see it, I began to see it clearly. And then something else happened. I realized that the way that I was truly being guided to do it wasn't wasn't emotionally draining. And that was the key. It wasn't about whether or not I was called to do it. Is the universe gives you ways to do things so you're not emotionally drained when you do it. You're going to have those tough moments where you do need to seek guidance and you do need to sit still and meditate and hear and be receptive. But you also need to be able to know when to move. Um, Another thing is that because I do have people in my life that I trust, I'm able to tell them, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I listen to the feedback that they give me. Because I believe that the universe puts certain people in my life at certain times so that I can hear what I need to hear to move forward. Um, and being a person, being a therapist, being a person that people come to, I always want, sometimes, it's natural that you want to talk and you want to respond and you want to build and you want to fix and you want to do these things, you want to help. And sometimes you need to know when to sit still and when to get guidance and when to accept constructive criticism. And all of those things turn back into your faith journey because when you realize it, your faith journey isn't about you doing things on your own. And so when you understand that you're not alone in your on your spiritual journey and fulfilling the things that you need to do in your path, then you feel more confident, and that's where that faith comes in. That faith is rebuilt. And so I felt like in my personal situation a couple of weeks ago that I had to do a lot of things on my own, and I had to do all this heavy lifting. But when I stopped and I began to speak to people, I realized that wait a minute, I don't have to do any of this on my own, and there's a better way because the universe was telling me, Laqwanda, there's a better way for you to do all of this, and you're not going to be exhausted. And when I was able to accept that and really hear that, I was able to see, the things that I needed to do to move forward. And, faith, is always about, seeing those things that, aren't there, that hasn't happened yet, and believing that whatever it is going to take place and come to pass. And it may not come at the moment that you are expecting to receive it, or how it is expected, or how you believe that it might um, come to pass. But it does take place. And so those are the things that I've learned. And I know I've touched on a lot of places, but I don't want this video to be really, really long. Um, but those are the things that I've learned to hold on to. Is that I realize that I'm not by myself. I allow myself to be still without isolating myself. I pull back from things without isolating myself. I realize that I sometimes I need to be poured into by my support system, receive constructive criticism, hearing from my spiritual guides and my ancestors and the universe about what direction that I need to go in. Those are all things that help me. And another thing is I connect with my excuse me, I connect with my past victories of when this happened And it's like, and you thought at the same time that, how are you going to do this? How is this going to happen? I don't have the ability to do this. I don't know how things are going to work, but things worked. And so the thing about faith for me is that at each stage of faith that I go through, that I want to ensure that I am growing. Because for me, as I grow in faith, then the way that things operate are easier than initially, because I'm no longer just now figuring out how faith works for me. And so this time, I have to honestly say that I had taken a couple of steps back, because I was just like, wait a minute, I don't forgot who I was. And sometimes that happens when things are falling on you back to back to back. You forget who you are, you forget the things that you're overcome, and it can push you and set you back. But the things that I love about myself, I keep saying over and over again, it's so important that you have those absolutes about yourself that nobody can touch you on, regardless if you're having a bad day, a good day, or whatever, that there's absolutes about yourself that nobody can touch you on. And there's absolutes that you have about your faith that no one can touch you on. And you have to realize, and I'm sorry, y'all, I was in pollen. So it's, my body is just reacting. But, those are things that you really need to hold truth to. And in spite of what's falling down around you, that, those things about yourself, that, I call my absolutes, they're unmovable. And I go back to that absolute to help me, to help be the foundation when I'm starting to rebuild my faith, when things are starting to fall apart. And, remember that having difficult times doesn't mean that you're not a person of faith. Difficult times happens to everybody. And so, just because you're experiencing something challenging, and you're having a day that's rough and you're doubting certain things, doesn't mean that you're a faithless person. It means that you're human, is having a human experience and a human emotion. But when it's time, the universe will whisper in your ear, hey, this is who you are. This is who I am. It's time to go. And you know, and you just replay. That's why journaling is so important. I know people sometimes like, oh, I don't like journaling. I have journals from that's Joshua. I have journals from 9 years ago, from when I was going through something really, really difficult. And that's my daughter. And so I can go back in those journals and read the hard times that I was having. And I'm just like, girl, we made it through some stuff. And it allows me to stand up and, straighten up a little bit, because I can look back and I was like, you know what? I did make it through some stuff. And you know what? This situation right here may be difficult, but if I made it through one situation, I have the capability to make it through another. So past experiences, they most definitely help boost your faith in moments where you don't feel like it, and you don't feel it, and you don't see it anymore, and you're wondering and you're doubting. Remember, go back to Lion King. Remember who you are, Simba. when Mufasa came, he was in that sky and looked down at his son. It's like, remember who you are. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror and be like, huh. Let me remember who I am. On days when I'm bad, and when I'm not feeling like faithful, let me tell y'all, I will get dressed up. And like, what does that have to do with you having faith? Because I start to feel confident about how I look. And when I feel confident about how I look, then I feel more comfortable coming in this space, which is my office, and getting work done. Because I'm like, I'm not going to be dressed up laying in the bed. Let me go in my office. And you know and those things work for me. So it's little bitty things. Little bitty faith steps can still make major things happen. So always remember that. Because if you think about faith, think about a golf ball and a golf club, and how a swing can make a golf ball go over 100 yards, or go all these yards to get to its destination. And so you have to practice your swing in order to move the ball forward. And so you have to look at life the same way. You have to practice your faith in order for your life to move forward so it can get to that destination. Sometimes you'll hit a hole in one, but sometimes it may take a couple of strokes to get there. But as long as you reach that destination, you're still on the path that you need to be on. And so practice, put yourselves in positions. We don't always, after we failed and things are coming at us, we don't want to put ourselves in positions where we have to exercise our faith. But that's what you need to do. You have to remember and be bold. Some of the things the universe is going to call you to do is going to call you to be bold. It's going to call you to be uncomfortable. And so you have to get yourself prepared and think about this. You're on that golf course, and when you're in that uncomfortable situation, it's like, I have to move this ball to that goal in order for me to get where I need to be in my life. And so I need to practice my swing. If someone told you that your destiny was based upon you getting that ball into that hole, you'll be out there every day putting in work, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, putting yourself in a posture of learning, putting yourself under people where you can grow and develop, because you know if you get your swing right, if you get that swing right, if you get that faith right, then you'll be able to move that ball, which is a representative of your life, forward and into the place that you're destined to be in. So continue to that's what I think about when I think about having faith when things are going wrong and things are collapsing on me. Um, so I hope this was helpful to anyone. I will be back starting tomorrow. This week we will have a couple of live streams that are going to come with trigger warnings, because they're going to talk about suicide and suicidal thoughts, or known as suicidal ideation. So be mindful of that. You might not want to watch that because it could be triggering for you. So I will catch y'all next time, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.